Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. I have a special interview for you all today. This is a celebrity in the world of the Second Amendment, the one and only Dick Heller of the Dick Heller decision in 2008. Sir, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything you have persevered through. And if you have a few moments, I would just like to get your story out because it's that important.
I'd love to, sure.
Awesome. So, your case was decided in 2008. And some time has passed since then, and it seems with the climate that we're facing now, a lot of people have forgotten what that ruling actually said. Could you take a couple minutes, however long you need, give the viewers an idea of the case, what caused the case, what you experienced through it, and what the ultimate decision came down and ultimately changed the Second Amendment landscape in the country?
Okay, thank you for that opportunity, because a couple of things really come to mind. Is when I was about 30 years old is when my gunfight started. And it was legal to own a firearm in DC in 1976. I moved in almost 200 years to the day of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. There is a gun god. And 3 months later, the city council passed gun regulations and said you couldn't have a gun. And I certainly wasn't going to throw it away. I wasn't going to give it to them, and I wasn't going to register it because I knew if they knew where I lived, they had a reason for it. So it took me years and years and years of research and networking to find a group of lawyers that we were all on the same page with, we could work together and present the ideas for a case. So we had to start out with to get on the first rung of the ladder, you had to have a basic elementary case. Me want gun. No bazooka, no landmine, no tank, just my pistol. And we teamed up with a number of people. The short version, that's a long story. The short version is we finally got certiorari. They accepted the case in the Supreme Court, and then the result is it was heard on March the 18th, yes, of 2008, and that magnificent Scalia decision was delivered on June the 26th, 2008. So that was pretty fast turnaround. Pins and needles for most people, but that's fast in the legal world, because the city immediately threw up 16 hurdles you had to jump over before you could then register your gun. The mayor, as soon as the decision was read, he was outside saying, "You have your guns, but we have control." Now, I didn't know anything about the legal world, and I said, "Oh my heavens, something bad just happened. I don't know what it is." Okay, so they came up with the 16 hurdles, and it took, we're talking about the time that has passed, it took 5 years to get those issues decided on. We just bantered back and forth, discovery and charge and claim and counterclaim. And so those didn't come out till about 5 years later. And then while we were in the process of appealing the 8 issues that we lost, Sandy Hook happened.
Right.
And that put everybody in emotional limbo. And don't make me tear up right now, but I had to go and talk to the man in the mirror and see if I was part of Sandy Hook. No, I finally figured out I was the one that gave their parents the opportunity to defend their school if they wanted to, although they had no real reason to know they needed to defend their school. Now they do, and there are thousands of schools around the country that now arm their teachers.
Successfully,
right. Yes.
So your case is a landmark case. It's the last great case that they've taken up and decided to follow through with. Do you think, with all the things that we're facing now and his cases before the Supreme Court that a lot of stuff is depending on, do you think that there's still a way that your landmark case can maybe help some of the craziness that we're facing right now. For instance, look at Virginia. They threw everything at the wall at the same time, from red flag to assault weapon ban to registration to confiscation. Do you think we'll get back to the core meaning of that ruling on your case?
We're headed in that direction, most definitely. And the steamroller has started. The landslide has started in our favor. We used to be steamrolled over before. And as an example, last year I met Audra Brown, who is running for Congress from one of the districts of New Mexico. And she had told me that the world doesn't know about it, but 31 or 32 of 33 counties in New Mexico had gone Second Amendment sanctuary. Nobody knew about it. And then it started happening around the country, Colorado, and then it happened in Virginia. Okay? And the Martin Luther King Day, what we call Lobby Day in Virginia for the Second Amendment, we normally have 250 people show up. This one, 22,000 people showed up, and those are the official Richmond government figures. So things have started to change. People are aware.
Awesome. So you have decided to team up with Gun Owners of America. I'm a big fan of GOA. It's one of the agencies that are fighting hard to right the wrongs that are going on. What is the reason that you elected to join forces and work with them so close?
I think it's sort of humorous because when we decided finally to work together, I mentioned to Eric, I said, you know, I have a charity that you don't know the name of, and I've been supporting GOA for like maybe 30 years. And he sort of was surprised by that. And I said, yeah, and I'm a life member. And that sort of surprised him. And there have been at this business of no compromise in the fight for about 15 years longer than I've been donating to them. So it's a very good marriage, I think.
Awesome. They are doing fantastic work. And
no compromise work.
Absolutely, no compromise. And it's kind of like my channel. It's no compromise. I take names and just keep kicking. As somebody who has gone through the entire process, from being wronged to fighting for your rights to ultimate vindication, can you sit here and maybe give the viewers advice on how they can help fight what's going on right now?
Absolutely. I've never been asked that question before, but I've come up with the perfect solution to success 100% of the time. What I realized is when we were losing against the left, they were steamrolling us because they were organized. And then we went through the process and received that magnificent Scalia decision, and people said, well, how did you do it? I really had to come up with the roadmap, right? Okay, so I'm in a college giving a speech, and I had just thought about it the night before. Someone asked me that question, and I said, we have an app for that. Look, I'm pushing 80, and for me to talk about an app, right, they really got a chuckle out of that. So I said, there's an app for that, APPPS. And it stands, I hope I can remember all the elements. Okay, first of all, you have to be active, become an activist. P, then you have to develop a plan. Then you have to have people. Then you have to have purpose. And then you have to stay aggressive. And then you will have success.
That's awesome. One of the big things that I think is it's the thing that I think is the biggest risk to the Second Amendment now and in the history of the nation is the red flag law. Red flag laws, in one humble person's opinion, violate everything we have, from due process to freedom of speech to personal property to to search and seizure violations. What do you think about the red flag in general?
When I was in Richmond, there was a section of my speech. I started off with, what is so bad about red flag laws? Well, just ask innocent 65-year-old Gary Willis from Maryland, ... if you can. He was innocently red flag pranked. And the newspaper said that the police, full disclosure, I'm still an active cop, the newspaper said the police decided to kick in his door at 5:17 a.m. Gary Willis is now dead. And I'm thinking, why couldn't, I'm a cop, why couldn't they just wait till 9 o'clock when he came outside to pick up his newspaper?
Right, because then they wouldn't have the upper hand.
Well, it might have been a civil discourse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not at 5:17 when you kick somebody out of bed.
No, there's a reason they go that early. Do you believe that people watching right now would have a benefit gain from Advocacy? We already talked about a little bit of advocacy, but do you still think it's worth their while of contacting their reps, contacting their senators, even though they might be like, full disclosure, my state senator is Elizabeth Warren. So I apologize that I've done that I didn't vote for her. I apologize my state's done that to this country, but I still call her office regularly. Hi, Lizzie. But I still do it. And I get a lot of feedback from across the country, like, oh, this rep is, I have Dianne Feinstein, I have this one, I have that one. Do you still think it's important that they still reach out?
You know, that's a very good question, and I think your key phrase there is reach out. I don't think phone call is enough. They respond to paper and not more than just a printed postcard, a letter, with a little bit of effort. Keep in mind, simply voting, you've basically fulfilled the minimum obligation of citizenship in our free country. But it's not enough because the left is always on the move. We're using BB guns, they're using tanks. You need to communicate and be an activist. APPPS.
All right, everybody. I hope that you understand how important this interview is. This is the man who is solely responsible for the lawsuit that guaranteed an individual right to keep and bear arms in the United States of America. It was the first time ever that was done, and this gentleman brought that to all of us. We owe this man a debt of gratitude. When he's telling you what works, it works because it got us where we are now.
We've had that magnificent Scalia decision, and then after the barriers that the city council put up, we had Heller 2, and then we had Heller 3, and we've been working on Heller 4 for a couple of years now, and then there's 4, 5, and 6 coming. And I'm 78 years old, and I'm still in the fight with you, fighting for freedom.
Absolutely. I mean, it works.
Constitutional gang sign.
This guy is awesome. If he's still in the fight, there's no reason for you not to be. Our country depends on it.
What's their excuse?
Exactly. Seriously. What is your excuse? Honestly, if this gentleman can do it, you can do it. Sir, you are a celebrity. I thank you on behalf of every gun-toting American in the country. Thank you so much for what you've done. Thank you for your time. I am so honored by your presence.
May I say, everyone should go in the military? Airborne, sir.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Until we see each other again, I am your humble host of Guns and Gadgets with the man, the myth, the legend, Dick Heller. Be safe, stay vigilant, and carry your weapon. Take care, everybody.
I'm a cop. Stay safe.